Hi, Let's Talk BL listeners. We are so excited that we just wrapped up season 1. We're getting ready for season 2, which is hopefully going to be more exciting and more content ahead. So, in preparation for season 2, we're going to show you guys a little behind the scenes as we get ready to launch. And we're going to show you a little chat that we had with some listeners about what they loved about season 1, what they would want for season 2, and we're going to show you a little bit about that chat. So stay tuned.
Okay. We do have a bunch of questions for you guys, but wait first. Is everybody watching Bad Buddy live? Okay, we do have actual questions for you guys if you don't mind, because genuinely the point of this is, so season 2 starts in January, and as we've kind of mentioned, we're already like negotiating with people, like guests and stuff, and we're kind of changing things up. So one of the things we're changing is like, we will actually be in like a studio together, so we're not going to be like this, like teleconferencing. So that's like one of the changes. And so like anything else that we change about the format of the show, we kind of want to like figure out. So we're super curious to know just like what other people think, because we know what we think. Like we have favorite episodes and favorite parts, but we don't know if like other people think it's interesting. And like I'll be honest, we do feel a lot of pressure, like especially like when we got Ja first, we felt a lot of pressure to like do right by everyone else, because we understand we're so lucky to even get to like be in this position. So we want to do right by everyone. So that's what we're trying to figure out with all of this. And so we're hoping you guys can help us. So our first question is, do you have a favorite episode of the podcast? And if so, like, why did you like it? Was it the guest? Was it like a specific question we asked or something? Like, and if you don't have a favorite episode, that's totally okay too.
Well, I'll go first because I can think of something right now. The Jaw first episode.
Okay.
Well, I mean, mainly for me, I really liked it because I could definitely tell how hard you guys worked on it, like with the questions and stuff. And like, I mean, like you said, like doing right by everyone else. Like, I felt that in my soul.
Nice.
But no, I really did enjoy that one. Yeah. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
I really like, so I'm a newbie to BLs. And so I like all your episodes in regards to like their side hustles, tropes, especially tropes. I think that's my number one, because I watch Korean dramas. I don't know. Anyway, I watch Korean dramas, and so learned about tropes. I was like, what is with these piggyback rides? So it was like really going into the BL world. I was like,
what is this body washing crap?
You know, yeah. I was like, so what's all this stuff that these guys are doing, and what's happening? What do I need to know? Because I was noticing the fall. I was like, that's kind of interesting. I think I know that one. And my friend's like, yeah, that's the trope. That's the trope they use. And she was trying to help, but it was too much because I had too many questions. She lives in New York, so it was like, girl, you just watch. She was like, just watch everything. But I kind of like those. I like your series Sundays, because I see we have a lot of things in common, because when I feel like ingredients is totally underrated. I love ingredients, and so that's like my favorite, because everybody is like, yeah, and I'm like, no, you just gotta watch. It's just like it's Jeff and gameplay. Like, this is what you're watching for. So okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll just like jump on that. And that one of my favorite episodes was the gameplay interview. Like, and the Renee, like both those felt like really just down to earth and genuine. And it felt like you were talking to friends in a way, you know, whereas like I loved Jaw first, but it was definitely like, we're doing a podcast now, right?
Yeah.
And But like with gameplay, you know, like it just felt very like, oh, it's my friend gameplay, and we like hang out. I'm like, you know, like we're just hanging out talking about like the stuff that we like. And I think too, when guests are fans of the work they do, or like fans of like are also BL fans, that like there's something really neat about your dynamic with them, and they're, you know, like they're what they're talking about. So that's probably one of the things.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments with Evan when he was like, I've never talked to fans about this. And we were like, whoa.
And both of us were
Tell
like,
you.
okay.
You want to talk about some more crap? Because we can do it.
No, we were like, you want to know? Oh.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, there's definitely a moment in our interviews where everybody just kind of like gets comfortable. And that's where like we were trying to figure out kind of how to get to that place quicker with people, which is why we do like the Lost in Translation, and we kind of like go through that fun stuff just to like get to that moment, because when we get to the questions, we want it to be a conversation. Like we want it to flow naturally. We don't want it to feel too interviewee. And so yeah, that was part of that.
Yeah. Although I will cry. Like the whole like it seemed like gameplay was your friend. Like I'm gonna cry about that later, just so you know. I will cry.
Well, honestly,
Gameplay was
no,
the
like
best
with
boy.
gameplay, like the way that you guys did everything, I don't know. I feel like gameplay's my friend. Like I don't know. I see him on
He's a good
Instagram
guy.
and I'm just like, what is this boy doing? Like,
Yeah.
it was good.
He's just a nice guy. It's true. Yeah.
I think my favorite episodes have been the ones where you talk about the behind the scenes at the like entertainment companies and like the people y'all follow through like the makeup artists and different people. I have gotten a lot of like behind the scenes content by kind of doing the same thing that I like put on TikTok. So I've gotten more interesting stuff by doing some of that, by following those people. So I really enjoyed those episodes just because it's something I wouldn't have found out otherwise.
That's really good to know, because we think that's also fascinating, but we never know if other people think it's interesting or if like we're just weirdos.
No, I too follow a bunch of. So I'm into makeup, and that's what got me started. Like following the Thai makeup artist, and then it was like, oh, he does their hair, and so I clicked, and I love Kyle Up. I'm obsessed. So I was like, oh, he does their makeup, and I was like, okay, so yeah, you're not the only weirdo here.
So on like sort of the same topic, are there any like running gags or like running topics or like things that we bring up that you happen to really like? So the reason we asked this is we had one person tell us one time that they really like that we wear matching outfits during the podcast. And so we never stopped because we were like, oh, somebody likes it. And so we're trying to figure out if there's any other stuff like that, if like what it is that people notice. Like, are there any sort of like running things or gags or like things that happen over and over that you like or don't like that we could like keep or get rid of?
I love the Lost in Translation for sure. I think that's super cute. You can find out interesting things.
So kind of speaking of that, this isn't on our list of questions, but is there anything you guys would add to Lost in Translation that isn't like a standard thing that we ask or do?
I'd love to know what pets everybody has. I'm a pets person, and I loved when like people talk about their pets. So I don't know. I think that'd be a fun thing to know.
And honestly, that would be a good thing like to add to icebreakers, because you know people like light up when they talk about their pets.
Yeah.
So that'd probably make guests more comfortable.
Yeah, us trying to figure out Jaws' pet's name, Jaws'
his bird's name.
The whole thing. Because a lot of times we'll cut out the parts. I don't know if Ayla does it so much than I do it on audio, but I'll cut out the times where we have to like reiterate questions, and that took a while for us to be like, William, he has a bird, like an actual like tweet bird.
Yeah,
it has a name. We're not sure what the name is.
I think I did cut that part out. Yeah, there was a whole conversation where William was like, he's like a bird, like the animal, like he owns a bird. Like he just could not like
I wish I could have had a photo to
comprehend.
be like, here's his bird.
Like, the bird.
No sense.
Okay, so pets. Anything else you like would add or would want to know? Like, you know, when we have these boys captive and can ask.
Because we're trying to ask questions that like you can't really find anywhere else.
Yeah.
Not to be cliche, but I feel like I would love to know their music because I think was it Smart that it turned out to be like a K-pop stan or something,
Yeah.
you know, like and he was like, "Oh, I'm Army," and I was like, "Oh God, like sign me up, right?" And so I think I don't know if that's easy to work in, and not everyone wants to talk about their music piece, but there's a lot of overlap, I feel like, between the K-pop world and the BL world, and so that would be mine.
Run, I think, mentioned, because I think we asked a question similar, like, what's on your playlist? And he mentioned somebody, like a Thai group. And I then started listening to them and, like, really liked the group that he mentioned.
Yeah.
And we have had a few people ask us to, like, ask about the music stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and then a lot of them are musicians, too. Like Pavel.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pavel.
But I only think I would say I'm not fully musician, but I do like the hobby of doing that, you know.
So it's, you know, it's like it gives them a chance to promote like whatever they're working on potentially musically as well.
I guess hold on. My first question is, how do you each consume the podcast? I'm curious about that.
Oh yeah, are you like YouTube or Spotify or Apple or
Spotify?
Apple. I listen to it in the car when I'm like commuting.
Right.
Like
Same here.
Unless I'm like, oh, I better go watch this to see what their faces looked like during this moment.
That's why I primarily
like
do
take
YouTube.
notes.
I'm
Like
YouTube.
watch it
some
later
content.
if if I'm like, oh, I want to see Kyle's face.
Today we're here with Kyle Volino.
You know.
I'm definitely YouTube. I like have to see every reaction, not the guest face, your faces, because your faces tell me everything I need to know about what's happening in that moment, right? So I'm like, there's some feels right now. There's some feels.
ตามโซเชียลมีเดียต่างๆว่าแบบมันอาจจะเกิดแบบ
Yeah, early on we had to really be careful of what our faces were doing.
Well, and that's I like almost feel like now I can tell when you're trying to not make a face, so that it's like okay, they're trying to be really cool right now and like not react, and so that's
because
also
at
fun.
some point somebody called us media, and I was like, oh damn, like we have to be so professional now. I'm like, we are not. We are just friends.
We're just some really lucky fans.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, it's a no. It's yeah.
Oh,
actually, so like just like sometimes when we're making faces, we have like a document that we work off of that's like a living document. So as we type in it, we can see it. And so like there are times when we'll be typing to each other about something in there, and it'll like get the other one. So like during the summer days one, I noticed that Alfred had like a cactus in his room, and I was like going through it over the cactus. And Beth Ann like could not handle it, and so she makes a really weird face at one point.
And I had to close out the document because Ayla is on like a desktop computer, so her keyboard is low, whereas I'm on a laptop, so like I would have to do this to type. And so, and I have my notes on my laptop so that I'm not looking down at a phone. So like I don't have my phone with me. And so I'm like, be cool, girl.
I can't. I actively can't. So
do you all like prepare all the questions in advance, or do you like riff off of each other or the guests?
Kind of both. So
Both.
we do write like a script of questions in advance, and that's mostly because like their managers want to see it before they'll give us anyone. Like they want to know what we're gonna ask. Like for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a way for them to make sure that like we're not psychos, and also it's a way for them to like tell us no, you can't ask about that. Like if we were to ask about like some future project or something, you know what I mean? So we do provide a list of questions, but we have like a whole document that we provide to them. And we do like, we're really explicit and we tell them like, it's a conversation. So there might be like additional questions. And so we will ask like extra questions that we didn't plan on asking that just sort of like pop up based on what they said. Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine that's hard because you like, you don't want to like piss anyone off, right? And you don't want to ask questions, but then you don't know what's going to come up in the interview, and you don't know what may or may not upset a manager or a guest, or it's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I think pretty quickly, like they realize like we're very professional, and so we're not going like I don't know. You know, our brand is like fluff and fun, and like we don't want any like gotcha moments, because like again, we're fans. We're doing it because we like are talking not for fans, but like as fans to artists. And nobody wants, I mean, I hate awkward moments, so like I don't want those awkward moments. I want to feel like we're friends and we're having fun. And that's the number one thing. Like at the end of every interview, we're like, did you have fun? Like we really hope that like you get a good experience, because first, especially right now, this is like the only interaction they're having with international fans, like one-on-one for an extended period of time, unless like, you know, they're paying a ridiculous amount of money to like do these like one-on-one fan calls. But even then it's like what, like 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a little bit of both where, and sometimes like we need that script, because both Ayla and I are like, wait, thoughts? We have thoughts? We are looking at the face of these boys, especially when Ja had the amount of English that he did. I like put it together. I was like,
yeah, me. Oh gosh.
I was nervous for you.
Oh,
I mean,
same,
you know, like
same.
I was like, oh, okay, be cool. And I'm just watching it. Like I'm not even,
Literally
like,
immediately he
joked with us.
Yeah, he started speaking English like before we even started recording. He started speaking English to us, and we were both like, wait, what? Like we were expecting to full stop have the buffer of William basically. And when we realized that wasn't gonna happen, we were like, oh.
When we did Alfred and David, it was like one of the first times that we didn't have William after a while. We were like, we need William back. Like he's a nice buffer to like satiate our crazy. We were like, this is, you know, a thing.
Yeah.
So are there any, I mean, we've talked a little bit about like the like questions, but are there like other types of questions that you want to know from artists, like music and that kind of thing you've talked about? But is there anything else when we talk to these boys? Is there anything like we've never asked them to do something, you know, because a lot of times within these interviews they're asked like almost like some fan servicey stuff. Like we've never done that because we kind of tend towards like the more actor stuff. Like we want to know who they are as people and who they are as actors, and so we kind of stay away from a lot of the like too much fan stuff. Is that like something that you guys like to see?
Please don't.
No.
I know, like I feel like that kind of
I love that you guys treat them like people, like they're not monkeys in a zoo.
It's true.
And if they want to give fan service, they will. I mean, we've seen fan service like Draw First, and they'll do it if they want to. I like that y'all are demanding them to do fan service because it can be a little bit unnatural.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like, I think you already do this, but asking questions about like how it was on set, right? I think you already do that, but like I think about Bad Buddy, for example, or Tale of a Thousand Stars, and I'm like, I would love to know what it was like to work with Piaf, right? Or
Yeah.
or be in that set, you know, and what the environment was, and like how the sound crew was, or how the lighting crew was, or that, you know, the more in depth. But I think you asked those questions already a little bit, so.
Yeah, I think we could maybe be better about how we phrase it, because one thing that I've noticed is like when we ask that question, it's almost confusing to them. It's almost as though like no one has asked that before, so they don't really understand what we're asking. So I think we just have to figure out how to phrase it so that it makes sense. Because that's kind of where we hit a wall.
We get lost in translation during the translation.
Yeah.
One thing I think I would like to see more of is just more stuff about Thai culture. I love when I see like a little bit of Thai culture come in, whether it's, you know, interviews with the actors or whether it's in the, you know, other shows that y'all do. I just love all the kind of tidbits about anything like that. It's really interesting.
Like, I love knowing that they all hang out at the Siam Mall for the AC, and that, like, that's literally how you get onto BL or like get an acting job, right? You just in the mall for the AC, and then they just are like, okay, you're gonna be an actor.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, that's how you do it.
Well, I think so. A question that could probably like be added in there. So doesn't like Thailand have like a lot of like random like holidays and festivals and stuff like that, as most Asian cultures? I mean, maybe asking them what their favorite holiday is. I mean, and they could tell us about it a little bit. I don't know. I mean, because like with Loy Krathong, that was recently. Like I had no idea about that, and like so many people were. I mean, thanks to William, I learned about it though.
Yeah, and maybe
Thanks, William.
You could do an episode where William explains some holidays to us.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
maybe just
to talk
more
to William.
We love William. Big fan.
Oh my god, we should line William and be like, hey, we talked to other listeners and they just want more William.
Yeah.
Was like he a BL fan before this, or was it like you all roped him into this world?
No, so like
I found him on Instagram.
Yeah,
I just like was like, here's this cute boy Ayla, and then when we started the podcast, I was like, okay, we don't want to schedule. I like didn't want to reach out to anyone early on because I was like, who are we? Like, there's no way people are going to say yes to us. So I was like, let's get some like people other than just the two of us on here. And I was like, we like to talk about the culture. So like, let's talk to this like, you know, person who teaches language and see if they've seen kind of like the uptick in interest in Thailand just because of like the BL thing. And so, yeah, like he was totally just some random like Instagram language teacher person that like a lot of them have popped up kind of on different languages.
But he did know, he was like aware of BL because he had a lot of students that would like ask him about specific actors or ask him about, and so like he knew about it. He specifically, I think, has watched a little bit of A Tale of a Thousand Stars too, because we've talked to him about like the difference in, right, like there's like a dialect situation in A Tale of a Thousand Stars. So even like for the Thai side of things, they subtitle it in Thai because of the dialect. So we've talked to him about that. So I know he's seen some of A Tale of a Thousand Stars too. So he's like, he was like aware of BL, but no, this I think between us and Raikantopani. So he translates for Raikantopani, Philippines. So I think between us and Raikantopani, like he translated with Singto. It's cute the way that like William does it, which this is not something that's recorded, so people don't ever see it, but like when we have guests come in, they have a whole conversation about whether or not they should be calling William P, which is very cute.
It's so cute.
It's a very cute conversation to watch. But yeah, they have a whole conversation about like whether or not they should call him P, and he asked
First
them
at some point
to
called William P, and it was a whole thing. We both were like, oh my
You
God.
can see our faces. It's in the middle of the interview. He's like asking William to clarify something, and he's like, P, no. And you see like the look in both of our eyes. We're like, oh my God.
Got very excited.
But so he really does, like, he genuinely talks to them, like, kind of beforehand to get to know their personality a little bit. And I think to figure out, like, how much translating he needs to do. So, for example, like, with Ja, he didn't actually have to translate stuff to Ja, but he had to translate Ja to us. And so, like, he figures out all of that, like, beforehand, basically.
Okay, the other thing that I want to ask is like we talk a lot about the Thai, I think because like that's like the focus. Are there other countries specifically, like we try to mix it up a lot, but of course it does tend to go towards Thailand. But are there other countries that like you wish we focused more on? Do you want to hear about like even other Asian cultures? Because like I've started watching like a Vietnam BL. And they're kind of getting a little more attention.
Yeah.
But like obviously we see numbers and we see that like certain episodes don't do as well as other episodes, and so it's really hard to know what I mean. I think Thai is always the safe bet, but is there like other content for other countries that you kind of want us to focus on or would like to hear about?
I'm open for all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watch all of them, so yeah. Because you said you're watching the new Vietnam. Is that the? Gosh, I should know the name of this.
Mr. Cinderella.
Oh yeah, I started watching that one too.
The one that disappears. I don't know if it's disappearing for anybody else. Like you get it.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's not.
It hasn't. No, it's back.
Yeah, it's back. So I told my buds, hurry up and watch it because it's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think y'all do a mix already, and I like that. But I mean, I think y'all are doing where you're doing like Singapore, and you're doing these countries that don't have a big kind of BL market yet, and I think that's good for like a BL entertainment. The more y'all kind of giving light to that is great. But obviously, the most shows are going to come out of Thailand. I'd like to see more Taiwanese stuff, but I just don't know if they're just not doing much right now.
Yeah, I like them too.
I know it's Let's Talk BL. But I also will say I'll put in a plug for GL and any of the actresses that are like have GL storylines too within the BL world could be fun.
Yeah, we have reached out to Gap because we know Becky speaks English. So yes, we are open to that, and we are, because we had Rin and like all that kind of stuff. So
we actually tried to book Rin and Beam together, and it just like didn't work out. Yeah, so we actually did like we tried to get the two of them together, and it just like didn't work out. I mean, it was fine because like I'm in love with Rin now. Like I will move to Thailand and like simp for her in person. It's fine.
Oh my God, she's
wonderful.
Same.
Yeah, I love Thai.
Oh my God,
Okay.
we're like
living the dream.
Y'all, we are like trying and doing our best to get all these boys. But it doesn't always happen. So it's really nice to hear you guys talk about like the other episodes that we do, because again, we can't always get interviews, and that's kind of the hardest part of doing this whole thing, is that like we as fans want to hear from these boys. So like we understand, but sometimes it is fun to like talk about other topics. So are there any of those other topics that you guys would like to hear more about? I feel like we've hit the high note.
Ships. Okay, ships. So
the ships episode
ships.
was so
I'm like
fun.
ships. I was just loving the ships, and then I'm just like, okay. So like I said, I'm new, and you were like using names. It was like, okay, we got Ghost Ship. I knew Ghost Ship, but then it was something else term you used, and I'm like, well, what is that? I'm like, okay, I need another episode. I need another episode. because I need
It
more.
needs to be a ghost
Okay.
ship episode. Like
It does.
I'm still hanging
Oh.
on to my ghost ship that I sent Beth Ann like the other day. What was it? Drake and freaking Top Tap.
Drake and Tap Tap. Yeah, they're doing like a little
Really?
variety show.
Their
I
IG,
lost
no,
it.
their TikTok lives are pretty
Okay.
cute when they go live together on TikTok. I will say interesting. I don't know. I actually, so my like top ghost ship is actually Tay.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta watch 3
Will
Will Be Free. Go watch 3 Will Be Free, and you will understand.
Okay.
But yeah,
I think it's easy to skip
yeah.
Top Tap though.
Oh yeah, no, Top
I
Tap. I
mean,
mean, Top Tap is perfect. Let's
He
be
just
real.
yeah.
Have you ever talked about like the music of BL, like all their songs
The
and
OSTs.
We haven't.
that might be fun.
We have a list of episodes topics that we like, you know, when we first started, because we were like, we're never going to interview anyone, so let's come up with all these topics. And then like, you know, month 2 we got kind of somehow booked so many people. So yeah, we definitely should do a music episode.
Yeah, I would love
There's a
to
lot
do a
of
music
music.
episode. That's like one of my
And-
favorite things.
Yeah, and Copter recently said that Million Boys will probably happen in October, so fingers crossed.
A few moments later.
What were some of so they gave us a lot. Plus we have our list from last season that we never got to get all the way through.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that I remember from them was, I think it was Alicia asked if we had ever done a episode about like music and OSTs and things like that, and that's on our list from season 1 that we never got to get to. So let's start with that. Let's start with music, and then what was another one?
I liked the idea of a continuation of episodes we'd already done in season 1, where it was like a previously on, and then like reference the first episode, because again, like, you know, like we've had more experience buying merch now, and we've interacted with you know, different boys, and we know more about like different things that they're doing. So yeah, it would be cool to do a continuation.
I know specifically, I think it was Shawnee who said she was really interested in us doing like a Ships 2.0 episode, like follow-up Ships episode.
It's like the ships to come in 2022. I know, because the ships that have that existed in early 2021 are completely different than the ships that now exist in like late 2021. Isn't that wild?
I feel like we also should do just like a OG ships episode. You know what I mean? Because it was when I was doing BL After Dark, I was telling them, I was like, you know, Max Tool didn't actually come until like really late for me. Even though they're like an OG ship, I just didn't like catch on to Max Tool until like way later.
Right.
So I missed a lot of Max Tool stuff. And so like I feel like including OG ships is a good one, because like, yeah, when you're new to this, like you just don't necessarily how would you know?
Also, some of the bigger ships, like for example, Off Gun has a currently airing show. You wouldn't know necessarily, unless you really dug for it, like where they originated. Like
you wouldn't know to go watch Puppy Honey.
No,
like,
I haven't even watched it yet.
Honey? Like
no, yeah,
because you know I live for Off, but
I know.
Yeah.
Like you easily find Theory of Love, but yeah, like our Sky, I like really stumbled upon, and Puppy Honey and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it would maybe be interesting almost to do like a history of ships. Like how do you figure out like where do ships originate? Like some of these ships came from like a Tenu started as a side couple, and then they became like their own main couple. Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah, like the origin stories almost. Because we do already play with the whole like Marvel thing. So like that would be funny.
Yeah.
Okay, another one was obviously like the more Thai culture. So like
Yeah. I mean, more William.
that can be like, yeah, more
We just
William.
need more William. We love William. The people love William.
Everyone loves William. How can you not love William? Aw.
Okay.
I love
He lived our
William.
best Bangkok life last week, and
He
I'm very jealous.
Him sending us all of those videos of just like every boy he found, like in the advertisements on the streets. I was like, "Oh, he does love us."
And me being like, "Hey William, did you happen to see any of the events that were happening at the malls?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I remember like seeing that things were going on."
Yeah, stuff was happening. William,
like literally every BL boy that exists was in Siam Paragon. Ridiculous.
William, love that kid.
Not cool, William.
Okay, so music ships, the history of ships, more Thai culture episodes. I heard a lot of like especially Keisha was saying like more of the behind the scenes stuff, so like the makeup artist, the hairstylist, like more of like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe like because we did do this once before, but I think we focused more on like individual people rather than just like the general behind the scenes. So maybe this time around we focus on like the general behind the scenes and then just give like a list of handles. Like,
I love it. I know. I'd really like to talk to some of those people.
I know.
We definitely have some favorite staff members that we keep in contact with, which I like.
I know. They're wonderful.
They are. They're doing the Lord's work.
Truly.
Okay. What else? Maybe we should do like some episodes of like lesser known shows of like
under, because we did with Tara, we did overrated and underrated, but we didn't do like, it'd be cool if we went and we found like view counts and we're like, okay, like these are the shows that have the lowest view count. So like, for example, like The Moment I Need You and The Moment Since, super low view counts, like comparatively, right? Compared to like all the shows that are on YouTube. And it's like, why? And then we can like talk about, maybe we do the shows with like the lowest view counts.
Yeah. We should try
like per studio. We could do like the lowest view counts per studio and just pick like Star Hunter, GMMTV, maybe like, although Nadal
that would be interesting.
BLs.
Cause like, cause you're my boy a pretty low view count? Like, what's the least popular BL at GMMTV?
That's what I'm saying is like, we should do the research
so
and we
interesting.
should find out like what's the least popular BL in each, like for each BL studio. So like Wabi Sabi, GMMTV, Star Hunter, right? Like I would say like
the ones that are
like
on
K-pop where there's like a big three. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because like honestly, I'm gonna guess The Moment I Need You and The Moment In The Moment Since is Star Hunter's least viewed, which is like truly a travesty.
Yeah.
Because they're so good. Oh, and then I did so Renee, Keisha was saying that she would be really interested in us doing an episode specifically like on Gaga Ooh La La. So I wonder if we should do a series of like each platform, because there are a lot of new ones now that Line TV is RIP, pour one out for the lost homies.
Yeah, we could. I think we could just do an episode about platforms. Because I like the idea of being able, a lot of what we're doing at this podcast is like creating a place where like you or an I could go and like have easy access to the information that like we had to scour the internet for.
Right.
Like the whole reason we did like the side hustles and the like favorite staff members is like and like how to get your friends into BL. It's like we've had to figure that out.
We
on our
struggled
own.
with all of that.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to like just be like, hey, go listen to Let's Talk BL. They'll tell you about it. Yeah, I like that. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
and so remember this season only runs through the summer. Oh,
Yeah.
so we don't need like a ton more, I guess is what I'm telling you. Because of course we'll keep doing series Sundays.
Yeah.
In between.
Cool.
I'm trying to remember if anybody else said anything like super specific, like specifically from the listener meeting, because like they were all awesome. AKA like my new friends meeting.
I mean, another one could be talking about like the fan meetings and just like the random mall appearances and just like
all of the events. Because we did at one point, I remember we all started talking about Wob Cafe and Friends, which I think is actually cut. I don't think it's included in the making of part 1, but we all started talking about Wob Cafe. So I know people are interested in like the locations and the events.
Yeah. Wob Cafe looks like a good time.
I know, it's a party. It's a party for sure.
When they throw down, they don't play.
I know. I feel like Wabi Sabi, like those are the BL people that like they can hang. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like Rookie Thailand is like the like Animal House like frat that like you like everyone's at, but like you don't know how you got there.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's good.
I think that's good. Yeah, that's like a good, because things will pop up kind of like they did during season 1. Like things will pop up.
Yeah.
And then like we'll obviously come up with like better names and like we'll do little guides for each of these and it'll be great.
Perfect.
Cool.
I think y'all's brand is like Let's Talk BL adjacent. You know, I mean, it's all that plus, you know, I mean, makeup, if you're doing the makeup artist and everything, it's everything around BL. It doesn't have to be just the actors. For sure.
Like if we can get an interview with Snow Brew, like I'm here for it, right?
We've talked about that.